I just like personally have a question about your life right now.
Okay.
What the hell is a day in the life? Because I feel like you're on TV at, on radio at 6, on TV at 6, it goes till 10. You got a lot going on. What does a day in the life of Jay Williams look like?
I wake up every day around 2:30, 2:45. I get caught up with what happened the night before, depending upon whether I stayed up to watch a game or not. I'm typically out of my house around 3:45.
How does that look? Are those like notes someone prepares for you, or you're just online, Twitter, whatever?
So a combination of both. So I decide, I really believe outsourcing as much as possible to make my life as easy as possible. So throughout randomly scrolling online and getting people's resumes, I found an individual that literally helps me with every single game and notes from beat writers and things before that happened the night before.
Amazing.
So almost like I get like a memorandum that gets delivered to me in the morning first thing that I get a chance to go over. All right, here are the 7 NBA games, here are the 2 NFL games that occurred. And I try to stay up and watch as much as possible, but realistically,
you can't watch 12 games.
Yeah,
Right?
and by 9:30, I have 3 kids under 4. Like I'm starting to fade, So I go over that, and then I start actually formulating my own opinions because on my car ride in, I watch a lot of games. I go through YouTube highlights, unless I didn't watch the games the night before, and I start, okay, here's what other people in the marketplace said. Do I agree? Do I not agree? And also, like, how does my opinion that I formed earlier in the year, if there's a red thread that you can carry throughout the course of the season, is it either, inductive, like towards that red thread commentary, or is it reductive, below, and really make my opinion based off that. So literally I do that. I get to the studio around 5:15. I prepare to do our show from 6 to 10, which is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. And then either—
That feels long, by the way.
A 4-hour live radio / simulcast show? Yeah.
I've done like 2-hour stuff before, and you're tired.
And you know what's really funny about that though? Like people say to me, well, you're reading off a script. I'm like, I'm not reading off any teleprompter, any script. It's all off the top of my head. And a lot of times you have to deal with random topics that in today's cancel culture can really make people feel uncomfortable.
Yep.
So, and you're not informed about everything that you're expounding upon either. So talking intellectually around subject matter or being informed or having the grace, honestly, to bow out of conversations when, look, this is not.
Well, I don't say that it feels long from a viewership perspective. I say that it feels long for you for that exact reason, which is 4 hours is a lot of content, right? There's no way, or it's very difficult at least, for one individual to be able to talk for 4 hours every single day about a topic that they're certain about, right? Mm-hmm. Very different topics. So I imagine that's probably a difficult part about it.
Are you trying to cut through?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to give an informed opinion?
Yeah.
Informed opinions don't always cut through.
Mm-hmm.
Polarizing opinions cut through.
Yeah.
So for me, over the last 10 years, how do you formulate polarizing, informed opinions that are polarizing because they are realistic, right? Like we have so many extremes that for me, I'm like, okay, I found an avenue that can cut through by just being realistic.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, Kyrie is the worst teammate. And I'm like, well, hold on. There are 6 or 7 other NBA players have decided not to get vaccinated, but it's only that the city of New York has mandated that now we're going to make Kyrie Irving the face of all unvaccinated people. That's unfair.
Yeah.
We should have the same level of scrutiny. If you are going to criticize Kyrie as Bradley Beal and other players who have decided, Jonathan Isaac, who have decided not to be vaccinated. But, different strokes for different folks. So I found a way to cut through in that capacity. So do a 4-hour show. 4 1-hour shows is how we like to kind of categorize it in the TV industry. Then turn around and try to get myself prepared for the big show, which is Stephen A. Smith, which is debating that on First Take. And then
what are the differences between those two, right? So I asked for one specific reason. When I look at TV today, I imagine it's probably pretty difficult to only get, call it 20 to 30 seconds to get your point across, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like that's a common theme, right? Maybe you have a little bit more time on the radio side because it's a longer show and it's an open discussion. But when you're physically debating someone back and forth like that, you have 20, 30 seconds, producers probably in your ear saying, Stephen A's up next. Have you struggled with that? Is that difficult?
No, because I think I have more of a TV background than a radio background.
Yeah.
Radio allows you to expound
and
actually articulate the details of here's my thesis and now let me tell you why. But it's almost like when you do debate format, you don't lead with just regular dialogue. You lead with a headline. Like what allows you,
Yeah.
as you're scrolling through IG, what stops you to read something? A headline.
There's no fluff allowed to start it.
So it's like, and this is the way they teach you. It's like lead with your headline, your thesis, and then now explain why you have that thesis. So your ability to be quick, your ability to be efficient matters. But you also learn how to navigate, right? Mm-hmm. Stephen A is great at this. If you ever pay attention to what he says, sometimes he says the same thing in different ways 2 or 3 times, right? Because you do have to eat up clock. Somebody does have to carry the show, especially when it's their show. So you also learn the skills of debating, the skills of, okay, writing down what somebody actually says. Does this fit into their thesis? Finding counterpoints against their thesis that if you believe something differently. So it's almost like a new level of your brain that you reach other than doing sports talk radio that feels like we are boys kicking it on our couch, just shooting the shit.
What sets him apart, Stephen A specifically? Right, and I ask that not necessarily that I or anyone else thinks he's the best of the best, but he's obviously done an incredible job. Everyone can look up his salary, right? I think it's probably public at this point. He's built an incredible resume for himself and all of this stuff. Is there anything that you've seen from him personally that just you're like, that makes sense?
His relentless attack. He's always on.
Yeah.
And never stops. And he is an entertainer, man.
Yeah.
It's almost what you saw with Shannon Sharp sitting courtside at the Lakers game when he got into the beef with Dylan Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm watching that saying, damn, that reminds me of WWE.
Yeah.
Like, that's wrestling, right?
Yeah.
There is an element
Everything's WWE.
Yes. So, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. As I look at the camera, right? Like, think about that. Think about if you say, I'm like, what are you talking about? Let me type. Yeah. That's way different. What?
It's different than sitting on your couch, posted up with a mic and.
But it's different in just the level of engagement. So if we're talking on First Take, and I say, what are you talking about? That is way different than, what?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Like, that display of addressing the camera, that gets your attention from an audience perspective. Now, and then if I lead with a strong argument, and if I keep talking, as a producer, if you are Jay 2 minutes, Jay 1 minute, and then you get the ball back, you have to make a counterpoint in 45 seconds, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Right? That he's really good at doing. So I think it's the trick of the trade, learning how to make points, get in, get out, but also, hey, I want to hold on to the rock for a second. Let me show you why.